Hello and welcome to the second episode of Blocky Tutorials. My name is Adam Detchen and today I'm going to be teaching you how to use the warp stabilizer in After Effects. Now there are a few things you need to know before shooting your footage, the first of which is frame rate. So most filmmakers shoot in 24 frames per second, but if you have the ability to shoot in 30 frames per second or higher, I recommend you do so to get the best possible result. The second thing you need to know is how to walk to dampen the vibrations that travel through your body and subsequently into the camera. You do this by walking heel to toe in a slight crouch position. This is to make sure the footage is as smooth as possible even before stabilization. Okay, so let's get started by opening After Effects. You can then import the footage that you want to stabilize and drag that down into the timeline. This will create a new composition the same size as your footage. You can then right click on your footage and select Warp Stabilizer VFX. This will start to track your footage and you just have to wait for that to finish. Okay, now that that's done, I'll go up to the Effects tab. Now everything in this tab is relatively easy to use and understand, but I'll just run through the basics. So with Result, we have two options, Smooth Motion and No Motion. Smooth Motion is for shots like this, where the camera is moving through 3D space, and No Motion is for shots that you were trying to make it seem as if it was on a tripod, to remove all motion. Next, we have the Smoothness Scale. The lower you go on the Smoothness Scale, the less After Effects will stabilize your footage, and the higher you go, the more it will stabilize the footage. Next is Method. Most of the time you'll be using Subspace Warp, and I'll let you do your own research for the rest of the options. Next is Preserve Scale, which will try to reduce the cropping around the edges of your footage. Next is Framing. Most of the time you'll be using Stabilize Crop and Auto Scale. There's also Stabilize and Synthesize Edges, which will try to recreate the border around your image, but most of the time it doesn't work. Okay, so anything that I haven't covered here, you can do a quick Google search for or leave your question in the comment section below. So I'll just do a RAM preview to see what that stabilization has turned out like. Okay, so as you can see it's pretty good, but I can see a little bit of jitter and warp in the footage. So I'm going to fix that by going up to the smoothness scale and then lowering that down to about, say, 25%. I'll now do another RAM preview to see how that went. Okay, so now the footage is pretty well perfectly stabilized. With a few more minutes of messing around, I probably could get it even more stable than this, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'll leave it here. Thank you for watching this Blocky tutorial. If it's helped you, please like, share and subscribe. And if you have any questions or feedback, please leave them in the comment section below.